Hello and welcome to podcast number 7. Today we're shooting on location at My Florida Green with our friend Nick.
Hey Nick, how's it going, man?
Really good. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm honored to be here with you.
Yeah, very nice to be here today. So, just to kind of jump into things, I know you had a chance to see the trailer for THC, the holistic concept, with Joe being in treatment. How did you feel about the trailer?
Well, first of all, obviously, you guys are both very talented individuals, and that was amazing to see the little snippet that I saw. You know, when I met Joe, he was actually walking down the sidewalk out here, and I could clearly tell that he had Parkinson's with a lot of his uncontrollable movements. And I invited him in to talk with him about the medicinal benefits of marijuana and to talk to him about the progress that we've seen with Parkinson's patients, and he was very hesitant. His generation, usually in that 60 to 70-year-old gap, if that's how old he is.
Yep. He just turned 69.
Okay, so falls right in that gap. Usually that generation is very hesitant because they were taught that marijuana was the devil's lettuce and it was dangerous and people died from it. Eventually he did come in though, and it was pretty amazing to get him to open up a little bit on it. I think he ended up coming in 2 or 3 times before he actually came in as a patient. So, but to see that film that you all produced and to prepare for the progress that we all know that he's making now, and to see that footage coming, it's phenomenal, and I'm honestly honored to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, we really appreciate it because it was interesting when I came in with him the day that we were signing up for the card, and you were walking him through that process. Was showing me and the family the endocannabinoid system, which I was blown away by because it's not just the THC that he's taking; it's also mixed with CBD.
Well, the idea is you want to get a spectrum and a full spectrum of cannabinoids to reintroduce into your endocannabinoid system. I mean, this is a series of receptors that's throughout your central nervous system and your organs, and it's responsible for your harmonic balance. And once you harmonically balance, you accomplish homeostasis, which is the status we need to reach in order to heal naturally. But it's compromised through drugs, toxins, alcohol, prescriptions, chemicals, vaccinations, and so on. I could keep going. And there's a gap that forms, and what falls in between is illness, debilitation, and disease. So we're taking phytocannabinoids from a plant that almost identically match our endocannabinoids, and we're basically fueling our system's natural ability to heal. That's how cannabis works in the body, and a lot of people don't understand that, and that's why it's really important for them to come in and get the education, because it's not about smoking weed and getting stoned. Of course you can do that as part of your regimen, and we would encourage people to try that if that's the route that they wanted to go. However, it's very important to consume and metabolize the cannabinoids in your system so that you replenish your endocannabinoid system. And once it happens, you literally witness magic, especially with someone like Joe who has compromised motor skills and nerves and dopamine. That's what Parkinson's is all about. Parkinson's is a very frustrating condition, not only for the patient, but for us as the practitioners to help that Parkinson's patient implement marijuana into their daily regimen, because there's 100 or 200 different versions of Parkinson's. Some people don't shake or tremor or don't have compromised motor skills, and some people are on the complete opposite end of the spectrum where they can't control themselves. And so it's very frustrating, and it gets that frustration gets passed back onto the patient, so that the patient has to incorporate and sample and experiment, and
that's the balance that we were talking about with Joe when we first met.
Yep.
Trying to get him balanced correctly, because he struggled a little bit with it at first. Like I think he might have been getting stoned too much, but then I started balancing him out the way how you said, start it slow and build him up to it.
Absolutely.
And that's what we've been doing. I've been, the documentary that I did see with Riding with Larry, a lot of people's comments on the video was, great video, but we want to show more of what's the recommendation and what's the dosage look like.
Right.
And what I've been doing, I've been writing a schedule. Every day Joe's taking it at this time CBD, this time THC. So we're going to show more of that in the documentary, so we can show someone getting dosed correctly, not just like here it is on camera, he takes it and
it's a tough nut to crack because cannabis is an individual response. It's not one dose does all for everybody. You know, we all respond to cannabis differently. We could all sample a dose of cannabis through a sublingual right now and all respond completely different because our tolerance are going to be different for the cannabinoids, especially for THC, which is the psychoactive. But one of the things that we emphasize on and we really instill upon patients is to counterbalance the psychoactivity of THC with CBD. I mean, CBD is the most medicinal compound of the plant. It's just not as sexy because you don't get high from it. But CBD will actually block the receptor and counterbalance the psychoactivity and neutralize it so that a patient can experiment and load on more THC by neutralizing the psychoactivity with an extra dose of CBD. So
it's amazing stuff, man, how this all is something that we were born with in our body, and for this to watch the transformation from Joe in the last, I think it's 4 weeks now, it's just, it's unbelievable.
It is
that
pretty crazy.
what I'm seeing, and we're not even fully there yet.
yeah, increasing is definitely increasing dosing is definitely going to be something that I would recommend. I mean, listen, there's no medicine that's available that's by prescription that the worst thing that can happen is you get high and go to sleep, right? Most medicines have a whole slew of side effects, you know, and
Like his
often
Parkinson's meds, like the side effects on his medication is
Some of them are pretty wild.
yeah.
it's unbelievable.
And it's almost sickening that we prescribe, or that the doctor prescribes medications that have those harmful side effects when they would not try cannabis first, and then, you know, if cannabis doesn't work, then prescribe.
Or even to
those medicines.
coexist together, because like with my mother-in-law, you know, when she was having her bout with cancer, like she was on a slew of pain meds, and you know, it didn't take the pain meds away, but it dropped it down by half to where she wasn't so dopey that she was able to interact with the kids and not be nodding out at the table and all that stuff. So even if it doesn't you know, remove his Parkinson meds, if it even cut some of them down or removed maybe one or two of them or something, it's all about having that the best version of your life that you can have when you're in a kind of a sticky situation like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's the growth from where when I very first started going over and watching him film, and like his arms are literally flailing around his body, compared to just, you know, he has his little finger clicks that he kind of does now. Like, that's a huge jump. When we would have dinner after shooting, and, you know, Jarrell or his mother would having to cut the steak for him and stuff, and then now he is cutting the steak himself. And it's like, dude, that is just so crazy that just by having some weed, for a lack of words, that you're able to have just a better version of what that Parkinson life looks like, you know.
Well, the number one priority should really be to improve the quality of life, right?
Yeah.
So if you can improve the quality of life, that's like step one, and you're making great strides and progress with that. And then to really get in, once you see the magic, and this is with most patients, once they see and feel and understand the magic of it, of improving the quality of their lives, then most will be, okay, well, now I want to heal. You know, and that's why it's really important to consume and metabolize and to break down cannabinoids slowly in your system so that you have them cycling through, so they can go after, you know, the compromised endocannabinoid system, so they can go after, you know, those gaps and fill them so that your system is complete. You know, and as you get older, especially Joe's age at 69, you know, that's difficult. It's really difficult because there's a lot of gaps, right? And clearly with Parkinson's, with like the dopamine, there's a lot of issues going on. So there's a lot of gaps to fill. So that's why most Parkinson's patients do well by loading on cannabis, you know, but you got to do it strategically, because you don't want that patient to be too psychoactive or too stoned to where they're lethargic, you know. So you know,
and like each patient is different, obviously, with Parkinson's. You have to adjust things a certain way.
Again, there's 100 to 200 different versions of it, so it is a frustrating condition. All conditions are frustrating, but Parkinson's is probably one of the most frustrating because of all the different variances of the illness, you know. So,
and you have a few Parkinson's patients.
We have hundreds. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have hundreds. We have one in particular that I really want to link you all up with that there's absolutely no way that he has Parkinson's. Like when you sit and look at him, when you talk to him, he sings karaoke every Friday
When
night.
you tell me this,
Yeah.
like I'm so amazed.
There's no tremors. There's absolutely nothing. But
Now, how long has he been in treatment?
you know, off the cuff, I want to say maybe maybe like a year. He has a daughter. Her name's Nikki. And she is very big in the cannabis space. She lives in Maine, so she actually makes and produces products for him, like from the bud, and actually produces her own cannabis oil for him. She's amazing. So I'll definitely introduce y'all, and hopefully we can bring her on. That would be amazing. She's on her way down, but he did an aggressive treatment plan though, where there was a couple weeks where he was down and out.
Really?
But yeah, because he's consuming. He actually, they followed the Rick Simpson protocol, which is building up to a gram a day, and a gram a day is 1,000 milligrams of THC, and that is a major dose that could tranquilize an elephant.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Especially ingesting it like in a capsule form.
Now, speaking of ingesting it, that's the route we took with Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Is that more beneficial to him than smoking the flower or smoking vape oils?
Well, considering what I know about Joe, I think it's going to be difficult to get him to smoke anything because he's pretty,
I've been trying to lean him towards it, but when we were talking on the phone, you were saying it might not be the best idea for him because...
Well, let's get into the delivery methods, right? So that the audience and viewers better understand it. So the inhalation, you have inhalation, sublingual, capsules considered an edible, and then you have topical. Inhalation is fast in and out, right? You have capillaries in your lungs. It traps the vapor or smoke, delivers it to your blood instantly. So it's a great quick fix. It's a great quick reliever. However, it's going to pass quick too because it absorbs and passes. So 20 minutes to 2 hours is the typical relief period. So inhalation, same as smoking the flower or vape, just putting it in that bucket. Inhalation is 20 minutes to 2 hours, and then it's done. So it's considered a treatment, not a preventative. Right, so yes, if he wants to incorporate and try that as a treatment to subside his symptoms, that's okay. But if he wants to heal, he definitely wants to consume and metabolize. So sublingual, putting the oil under the tongue, is probably the second fastest delivery method, and in my opinion, the most medicinal, because there is still a little bit of control there, because you're putting the oil under your tongue, you're letting it sit there for a minute, a good percentage, about 20% absorbs in the mucous membranes under the tongue. The rest will metabolize when you swallow. So the onset's about 20 minutes, where you don't feel it instantly, like when you inhale, you breathe in, you breathe out, you know what's going to happen, right? We've all smoked.
Yes.
But the sublingual is less controllable because you are swallowing and it's going to break down and metabolize. So 20-minute onset, relief periods usually 4 to 6 hours. Capsules or edibles are uncontrollable. So when you ingest and metabolize, it's going to take an hour or two before you even feel the effects, but then the relief period can last 10 to 15 hours, which can be extremely frustrating for somebody that's a control freak. Like me personally, I'm a control freak. Don't tell anybody. But so when I consume a capsule, I'm out of control. There's no off button. You can take a big dose of CBD, it still has to metabolize to reverse the psychoactivity, so it gets a little frustrating. But the more you follow a regimen and you take them every day, the more of a tolerance that you're going to build. But the capsules or edibles or consuming is probably the best route, I would say, for a Parkinson's patient or somebody that is struggling with a lot of physical pain or chronic pain, or somebody that wants to get off of the benzodiazepines or opioids. The capsules are going to just kind of help them wean off. I mean, I was explaining to you guys when we first got here, I'm super sensitive, but I'm on my 22nd or 23rd day of capsules, and now I don't even feel them. And it's because the THC binds to the receptor where CBD blocks the receptor, and the more THC that binds to the receptor, a layer forms, and the THC starts to bind to the other THC. Therefore, the patient can build a tolerance and they're less psychoactive. And then topicals are more of a treatment like inhalation. You're rubbing it on your localized pain points for temporary relief, 20 minutes to 2 hours, and then it's kind of done. But the idea is to experiment and use it all,
Because every patient's going to be a little different on how the different...
So until you get them where they need to be, it's a little trial and error.
Exactly. Somebody like Joe should definitely be consuming the capsules because it's going to be easier for him too. It sounds like y'all are on a regimen now with him. He's on day 6, you said? Or
Yesterday
11,
was
that's right.
10, so today's
okay,
11.
Okay, so
On the capsules.
On the capsules,
yeah.
and we've been doing it about 8 o'clock-ish at night, and then the indica at about 10:30, in between 10:30 and 11:30.
So that's indica oil.
Indica oil,
Okay,
yeah.
so that's really good. You know, a way to kind of gauge his tolerance now would probably be to pull back the time to where he starts taking it at maybe 4 p.m.
Okay.
So you can kind of measure his psychoactivity, measure how he feels, because right now, if he's taking it at 8, what time does he go to bed?
About in between 10:30 and 11:30.
Okay, so the cannabinoids have metabolized now, so they're kicking in. They're probably helping induce his sleep. So
Because he's sleeping, it's amazing. 8 hours, 9 hours a night, waking up, going back to bed with no problem.
you know that's the number one priority, is to correct people's sleep,
Yeah.
right? Because if you correct sleep, you're going to correct a lot of things. People that struggle with sleep, their anxieties spike, their cortisol spike, and they're just not fun people. I know me personally, I'm not fun if I don't sleep good. So if we're correcting his sleep, that's definitely a major milestone to cross, and that's really, really good.
For someone that hasn't slept like his whole life, even before Parkinson's, he would tell me like, "Drew, I've never slept 8-9 hours in a row.
Yeah.
Like I would always be up every hour, hour and a half,
Yeah.
going to the bathroom, and then Parkinson's made it worse."
Yeah, if he's shaking and moving and uncontrollable all the time, I mean, gosh, I think your mom's probably going to need cannabis too. So
She's the next one. She's the next one I'm trying.
yeah, so the idea would be to really pull back maybe the hours so that you can measure and gauge and see how he's doing. So maybe pull back to like a 6 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I would do 6 first, so that way if he is groggy, at least it's the end of the day.
Yeah.
But I would honestly advise to eventually get him to where he's taking one in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah, to where he's taking one in the morning. I would say probably another week of following this a similar regimen, pulling back to like maybe 6 o'clock instead of 8, and then maybe week 3, week 4 start to incorporate it during the day. And you're doing a hybrid, right?
Yes, hybrid. Yeah.
So hybrid's combination of sativa, which is a stimulating strain, and indica, which is known as indicouch, which is sedative. So you can definitely move those around a little bit too. And I mean, sativa may be risky. Sativa can actually cause anxiety. I know it does for me.
Yeah,
for some.
Like
but,
indica being in the couch, it doesn't put me in the couch.
Mm-hmm.
I can smoke indica all day long and have a smoother day of just being anxious and anxiety all the time.
Yeah.
Where if I smoke sativa, then like it's the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Like I'm like more anxious, more anxiety, and I'm not really leaving to go anywhere to go do anything.
keeping in mind we're talking about smoking, right? Compared to consuming.
Consuming
So
it
there is a
way.
little bit of a different
Yeah.
onset, but
Okay.
I would play around with them a little bit. Hybrid's safe though. Hybrid's safe because
Okay.
you get a little bit of both. So that's a safe
Yeah,
strain.
because I remember when we first met, I thought it was going to be a sativa, and then you're like, no, we want to try them on the blend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely the blend, and then I, honestly, the couple of Parkinson's patients that I've stayed in communication with, the indica has been the strain that actually works well for them. But again, and I definitely, want to make this statement. Everyone's different. We're all different.
Yeah.
So, what irks me the most is when people are talking in a room. We'll get patients that all sit kind of on these couches and they're talking when they're waiting to see the doctor, and they're like, "No, you should do this." I'll actually stop an encounter and come out and say, "Please don't advise a patient because that's what works for you. That's not what's necessarily what's going to work for them."
yeah.
So when people start giving advice like that, it's got to be really open, which makes it frustrating, but it also kind of empowers the patient to experiment. You know that THC is going to get you high. You know that CBD is going to reverse the high. Those are the two main components that people need to understand and incorporate when they're experimenting with cannabis, because that CBD is going to rescue them if they get in an uncomfortable state.
Yeah, that's also something I found interesting when I was here, when you were saying if he gets psychoactive from the THC, you give him CBD and it reverses. I never
I
knew
had no
that.
idea that was a
That-
thing.
that
I
to
know
me
that
was
balanced
amazing.
you out. Yeah.
I never liked cannabis growing up. I mean, I've tried it all, but I never liked cannabis. I never liked how it made me feel. I would get paranoid. I would sit and answer and ask questions in my own mind, make movies in my own head, and I just never liked it. And then when I started this business, and understood that, got a better understanding of the cannabinoids and understanding how to counterbalance that THC. That's when I started to incorporate it into my everyday life, and it's been amazing, And I was just mentioning to you guys, I don't drink anymore. I mean, that's huge. I mean, if you can get somebody who drinks every day or every other day to feel like they don't have to drink anymore. I mean, alcohol kills hundreds of thousands of people every year. Marijuana's never killed anybody.
Right.
We're stigmatized, and doing podcasts like this and videos like this, having guys like you involved is really good because it's productive. We're making progress. We're building awareness where people understand, hey, maybe this stuff isn't bad, or maybe somebody's going to be watching out there that maybe doesn't have a Parkinson's patient in their life, but maybe that struggles with sleep. I mean, CBD just by itself is amazing for anxiety, inflammation, blood pressure, blood sugar regulation. Those are the top 4 ailments that CBD is phenomenal for. I mean, who doesn't suffer from anxiety?
You know what I mean? At some point.
Now you have to be careful when you're buying CBD.
Definitely, good point.
You know what I mean? Because we just watched something on, I think it was Dr. Oz, where they went testing, but people were buying them in convenience stores and head shops, and they were testing them, and the stuff they were getting was not accurate. So what's your take? Should you buy it from an established business, a dispensary?
For sure. I accidentally got in the CBD business as well because I saw all these wactos out there selling isolate CBDs, and it's almost insulting because I've seen what this stuff does for people, and then you've got all these people that are trying to ride the wave and rebranding and white labeling, and so CBD, you want a full spectrum of CBD. So you want a little bit of the THC, the THCA, THCV, CBD, CBGs. I don't expect everybody to understand that, and I don't want to get into it because it's a long video.
Right.
But that spectrum are you got to envision them as being keys on a piano, right? And your body's listening to a song, right? And if you're buying an isolate product, which most of it is, isolate being one cannabinoid, only CBD in a powder form, they mix it up with MCT oil, they shake it, they sell it to you as CBD, which it is. It's 99% pure CBD. I love those ads that say 99% pure. Well, that means it's garbage because it's like listening to one key on a piano all the time, right? Now a full spectrum, you're listening to multiple keys, so now you're playing a song for your body. And it's kind of a layman's way of explaining it, but most people get it. I mean, why are we so attracted to music? I mean, our body's constantly looking for harmony. We're looking to follow a beat. So it's there's some regulation that's going to come in with the CBD, but at the same time, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube now. So the floodgates are open, and you get a lot of unethical people that are kind of entering the market. So
just trying to cash in on a new buzz that's going on.
So that's why I was saying, be careful. Come see Nick at My Florida Green. Get on your.
Thank you for that plug.
Yeah.
So our CBD company is called Revita Oil. It's actually my son's name's on the back of the bottle. And it is 100% a full spectrum. It's fully organic. I'm involved with a farm over in Colorado Springs who manufactures and processes it right there in their lab. We do third-party lab testing twice. They test it before they send it to me, and then I test it with the bottle, with the label on it, so that people understand what they're buying. And it shows, with the lab test results, it shows the exact spectrum of cannabinoids. And when you switch from 350 milligram to 500 milligram, 1,000 milligram, you can see the different spectrums. And if you go back to that piano, you're listening to a different song with each milligram, and it's phenomenal. We have an 80% return ratio with our CBD. It's not the cheapest. It's not going to compare to the ones in the smoke shops or the gas stations, but for God's sakes, it's real.
Yeah,
you can buy that from here at your store.
Yeah, you can buy it here. You can buy it online. Revitaoil.com. It's REVITAOIL.com.
We'll put a link to it.
Yeah, cool, awesome. I appreciate that. But yeah, just the oil itself, just incorporating CBD is phenomenal, and it's extremely medicinal. Like I said, for anxiety, inflammation, blood pressure, blood sugar regulation. Also really helps regulate your sleep. The idea is to get you into that homeostatic state. And when you're in that homeostatic state, your body does what it's supposed to do. When your head hits the pillow, you go to sleep. When you go to the bathroom, you go to the bathroom correctly. It improves your digestive, it goes on and on and on. I mean, it's phenomenal.
It's amazing what this natural plant can do
I
to
know-
help benefit people?
I know with sleep, like I'm the guy that tries to go to bed. I'll shut the TV off or whatever, and I'll lie there in the dark for an hour, 45 minutes before I can
I'm the
actually
same
fall
way.
asleep. Like, and I've always been that way. You know, people, you know, you go lay down in like 5 minutes they're snoring. And I'm
Yeah.
like, how
are they
the
doing
hell
this?
do you fall asleep that fast? You know, like I'm staring at the walls. The circus starts
Yeah.
once the lights go off. That's
Yeah.
when the circus
Yeah.
starts, and I can't get myself to focus and try to go down. So I tried like the CBD gummy bears and different things of that nature, and it did help improve that, cutting that time even in half.
So
And I feel like I got more into an REM sleep sooner, so I had more rest in a 6, 8, 9 hour sleep.
So CBD gummies, I don't recommend. Most CBD gummies are made with isolate, so you're not getting the full
Okay.
spectrum of phytocannabinoids from a plant in a
Gotcha.
gummy.
That's probably why it didn't like impact it majorly, but it did help curve it a little bit.
There's probably some placebo and mental in there too.
Possibly.
But when you take a capsule of CBD or you take an edible of just CBD, once it passes the liver, the first pass, you're only absorbing between 2 and 5%.
Oh, okay.
So that's with CBD. It is the best way to take it is going to be a sublingual because you have that breakdown in the mucous
I
membranes
see,
and then
yeah.
metabolizing. But you know, if you want to treat sleep, an indica dropper under the tongue, a half to a full dropper, holding it for at least a minute. 20 minutes is going by, you're going on a magic carpet ride, say hello to Aladdin and pass
Right.
out.
Right.
It's phenomenal. I do that every night, and I literally hit the pillow, I blink, I wake up, it's the next day. I don't even dream, it's that deep. So.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I have no idea what that would feel like.
Yeah. That
is
Maybe it's
amazing.
something I should look into.
Well, it's time to start, man.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Well, that was a lot of information that we threw at you guys in the last 30 minutes. Hope you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, share the video. Check out Nick at myfloridagreen.com.
Absolutely.
And we'll see you guys soon.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching.